Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Add this to your list. We are three entertainment nerds from different coasts, and we help you decide what to love, what to hate, what to add, and what to skip. I am here with two of my good pals. I got Funmi on the West Coast, say hey.
Hi.
And I got Tom on the East Coast, say ho.
Ho.
What's up, guys?
Nothing much.
Just a little sunburnt.
Just trying to... Wait, oh, you said sunburnt, Tom? Yeah, you've been out
just
on the
a little
boat.
bit.
Boys on the boat. Yeah, and Foom, we're just trying to survive because you're getting more earthquakes, and then New York had a power outage.
I
Tell us about the latest earthquake issue for you, Foom. It wasn't as bad as the others, thank God.
No, it wasn't as bad. It was super light. I think it was like in the same location as the other ones. It was like a 4 something, I think, instead of the 7.1.
So you got this.
It's freaky though that like you're getting them often, and the last one was a little while ago, right? It wasn't like this.
I think
like,
it was
this is
like
now
yesterday or the day before yesterday or something. I don't know.
Jeez.
I don't know. All I know is that if anything really intense happens, I'll be
You're
making
out.
some adjustments.
Oh yeah, you'll be moving and shaking. Get it?
We may be recording live
Making some
every damn
adjustments.
week.
Yeah, right. and then yeah, in New York, oh my gosh, wow, like something like 90,000 people lost power over the weekend. Luckily, not for too long, but shit. I mean, this is just what makes makes me laugh about New York is like, yeah, it's like the biggest city, it's the best city, blah blah blah, but like, come on, people, like. You got to get ready for all the millions of people that live there. Like, you lose power, that's not great. And this seems to happen at least once every couple years. Like, you know, you at least hear, like, in the Bronx, like, oh, yeah, these grannies are dying in the Bronx because their building lost power. This was blocks and blocks from Midtown to Upper West Side.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a second I wouldn't have to go to work on Monday, but they got the power running, so... Gotta go back to work.
Did they explain what happened, or do they not know yet?
It was a fire, a transformer fire.
It was a transformer fire and something with
Yeah.
like a manhole, like a pothole
Yes.
or something,
Yeah.
right? Freaky.
Okay.
Luckily, none of us were there. Tom was on the boat. How's your weekend been, Tom?
Good, fun. Just a little horse and a little red, so.
Ooh, okay.
You been
There we go.
drinking? Y'all drinking?
Been drinking, yeah.
Been drinking. Well, horse and red kind of goes along with tonight's theme.
Kind of.
Because, ladies and gents, let's get into it. So we got some things to talk about. Fumi liked that. Thanks, Foom.
I did. It was kinky. I liked it.
Yeah, right? Because we're going to get kinky because, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 69. And, of course, with episode 69, my mind got, my gears got turned, and I'm like, 69. Let's talk
You
about
dirty
sex,
little
baby. Right? So we're going to get a little dirty, so put the kids to bed. And, or kids, if you're listening, you should just, I don't know, you might turn this off. I mean, add this to your list. It's nothing too
Well,
racy,
maybe they're
but,
watching Euphoria, so.
I mean, nothing is as racy as Euphoria, okay?
True.
So, speaking of sex scenes. But, so we'll do a little bit of our normal housekeeping and headlines. We'll, of course, tell you what's on our list this week, where we will tell you our recommendations or our non-recommendations. But then we're going to wrap it up with some memorable sex scenes in film and TV through the years. We've seen a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about some stuff we saw.
Yeah.
So let's get into headlines and housekeeping. I don't really think we have much housekeeping, but... Tom, you want to go first with your news item you want to chat about?
Yeah, just two really quick tidbits. The first is that, speaking of Euphoria, no surprise, I think all of us saw this coming. It was announced this week that they are indeed renewed for season 2, with their numbers creeping up every week, especially on streaming. I'm really not surprised. Good for Zendaya and cast and crew of Euphoria. Hopefully you could find a way to keep it just as racy for season 2, because I feel like it's one of those shows where you just got to keep it to that level, or else people are going to stop caring and they're going to stop talking about it, and then that could be trouble for the show. Second bit of news is long awaited. My God, I keep forgetting that the show even exists. But Mindhunter season 2 is coming back August 16th. Finally, after like a year and a half, I think. It's coming back with the same cast from season 1. Jonathan Groff leading the pack. But I just hope Netflix does some kind of promotion within the next 3 or 4 weeks, because, I mean, that ain't a lot of time, and it's been a long time since that show has been on people's radar. It was really popular when it was out in season 1. Everybody was loving it, so I hope that they can kind of remind people that it still exists, or else the show's going to go into the others. But I have hope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Only a month away for a big caliber show like that.
Yeah.
It almost feels slightly like accidental or a surprise even to the creators. I don't know. Something's a little off about it, because I just feel like for Netflix's bigger shows, they usually like plant those seeds a little earlier, you know? So that's interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think, Foom? You think it's not that weird to announce it a month ahead?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when Netflix drops things like surprise releases like on a weekend, you know?
Yeah. Like I was looking at Netflix over the weekend and I saw some new movies on there that I had no idea were coming out. So it's like, okay, well, it's what they do.
Totally.
Yeah, it is. Totally. It is the new way of doing things. I just hope that they're catching people's eyeballs.
Yeah. Especially for a show like that is still young.
Exactly. And they don't, they have that track record of canceling a show after 3 seasons if it's not doing well. So,
Yeah, that's true. So August what? 19th
16th.
Was it?
August 16th.
Yep. August 16th. Mindhunter. Cool. I still have to watch the first season. If you remember, I wasn't bored. It was just a little sleepy for me, but I do want to give it a shot because I know you guys loved it. Many people loved it.
Yeah. It got better, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic.
It got so much better.
I loved
as
Mindhunter.
the season progressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
All right. Good to know. Cool. And my news I thought was interesting. I've been sort of keeping tabs on those Universal monster remakes. As we know, they made The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which was a major bomb and critical mess, apparently. I still haven't seen it. But that was supposed to be part of a whole Universal monster kind of cinematic universe, if you will. Blumhouse then took it over from Universal and is going to be remaking some of these movies. And The Invisible Man will be their first remake of this kind of, I guess, franchise. And they found their Invisible Man, and that's Oliver Jackson Cohen, who is most famous for his role as, I forget, was it Luke?
Yes,
Luke in Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
And
He's great.
So cute.
That'll be cool.
Oh my God.
I don't think I've ever seen Invisible Man.
I don't think I've ever seen the original Invisible Man either. I saw, basically, the first remake was when we were younger. It was a huge Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was basically,
that.
Yeah, that was basically like an unofficial, kind of more horrific remake
Got
of it.
it.
But yeah, I've never seen the original either. I know it's a classic. So yeah, it'll be cool to see it in a modern world. He will replace Johnny Depp, who was supposed to be in it in the more bigger budget Universal films. But since they're kind of cleaning the slate and going a little smaller, it'll be him with Elizabeth Moss and Storm Reed, who I'm loving and who was in Euphoria. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool cast there. So that'll be interesting. I thought that was some fun casting news. And then later on, we will get into, before we, wrap up all news, at the end of the episode, we're going to give you our thoughts about the 2019 Emmy nominations, because they just came out. Mm-hmm. But you will have to stick around and wait for those thoughts at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. So there's a little teaser. And with that, I think we're good on news, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into our list. Okay, let's go with Tom. Tell us what you have been watching, Tom.
All right, first thing on my list is Pose Season 2. Came back a few weeks ago. We are about 4 episodes in. No surprise, everybody on this podcast was a major fan of Season 1, so we were much anticipating Season 2. We were a little worried that they'd be able to kind of continue the streak from Season 1, because Season 1 was really a groundbreaking show with some stellar writing that gave a lot of transgender actors and actresses a chance to be in the spotlight. Really good acting, really good directing, and I've got to say Season 2 is back, and it is just as good as Season 1. This is an add this to your list, guys, if you are not watching. Get on it.
Nice. Yeah.
Seriously, if you're not watching, like, what are you doing? I mean, honestly.
I have
Yeah.
to say, it is some of the best thing that I'm watching on television right now. As we speak, it is just phenomenal. They are not afraid to tackle the really hard topics. Season 2 opens with in the season premiere. They open with a very hard-hitting kind of fact that very few people probably know about, obviously in the AIDS crisis when all these people were dying, a lot of people were thrown out of their families and their households. And so nobody was there to claim their bodies, and you kind of see what happened to a lot of those people who had nobody to claim them once they had passed away from the god-awful disease. So sad. I'm loving season 2. They're doing some really great stuff with Angel. She's, getting to kind of showcase her desire to be a model. There's some really good stuff with Elektra.
Yeah, I like that storyline a lot.
Yeah, I love that storyline. Elektra's getting some good things to do, and the actress, I forget her last name, I'm sorry, I know her first name is Dominique, but she is markedly improved this season, so maybe they sent her for acting lessons.
You know what? I don't...
Wait, who's markedly...
I don't know if Elektra, her acting skills have markedly improved,
or we're just used to it.
Have as much of her. Not that, but she was a lot. She was a main focus in season 1, and they pulled back a little bit on season 2 to let some of the other secondary characters shine a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yes, because I have to tell you, Elektra has not improved.
Maybe we're just used to her.
I totally disagree. If anything, I'm ready for Elektra to maybe go away after this season. She is so grating. And I think also, I love the show, but there's just a lot of really grating people on it. Like, if Billy Porter's just constantly screaming, and then Elektra's constantly screaming, then I'm like, does anyone on the show whisper?
It's so funny you say that, Mark, because I, after the most recent episode of Pose, I texted one of my good friends, and I was like, is Billy Porter, like, do we feel like he overacts? Or do we feel like he over-emotes?
Everything. Even when he's at the diner, he's like, well, boys! It's like, Jesus.
But I have to say, because you two have not watched Paris is Burning, which you should be.
I know. It's crazy.
Ashamed of yourselves for that.
I actually wanted to watch it on Gay Pride Day in the city, but I just ran out of time. I know, Foom. I know. Tell me.
My friend was like, I do agree, but then I watched Paris is Burning, and that's literally how they are. The guys, the ones who, like, are the ballroom, like, captains or whatever, his MCs, that's how they are. They're just, like, over the top and very extravagant, and just their personalities, like, fill the entire room. So Billy Porter's is doing that, basically.
Totally. I hear you.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? At the end of the day, you got to give the show props for what it's doing. I mean, it is putting transgender people front and center, and telling very honest, very raw stories, and it's not afraid to go there. So the acting may not be, the best for everybody, but I'm okay to let that slide. I really am.
I also have to give a shout out to Janet Mock. She's
phenomenal director.
Like, blowing me away. Her writing and directing skills are insane. So she deserves all the accolades that she's getting, honestly.
Yeah, she's doing some great work. And I mean, she's living that life. She knows what it is. So, and it shows. You feel like you are really there. Yeah. And the latest episode that you guys you watched before I did, because you told me to watch it. It really is good, and she worked on that with Ryan Murphy. I think they both wrote and directed. I think they wrote, and then maybe Ryan Murphy directed. Yeah. It's a game-changing episode. I didn't see that coming at all. I was a little thrown off, but I was in tears. I mean...
Yes, I cried my eyes out in episode 4. It was a really, really beautiful episode. It's the standout of the entire series to me so far, in my opinion. I will say episode 3...
I agree. It feels kind of like the... It feels like the trans version of, like, 6 Feet Under to me.
Yeah.
I'll say no more. I don't want to spoil anything, but felt like that to me, right?
Okay, yeah.
I will say episode 3 was a little tonally off for me. They tried to make it a little comedic, and I just thought it was a little ungrounded. I feel the show is very grounded in reality, and episode 3 was kind of like, you know what, would this really happen? Yet, at the same time, it was kind of trying to make the point of just how high the stakes are for people in the transgender community, especially in the 90s.
Yeah.
So
the stakes are high, but I totally agree with you, Tom, because it wasn't even just that one storyline we're talking about that's kind of comedic. Then there was, like, a little bit of a romance that kind of came out of left field and felt a little soapy. Like, episode 3 went into a weird direction, so I'm curious to see what happens from there, because those were some big things that happened. But I also think it's just so...
I liked episode 3. I kind of liked the fact that it was tonally different. I felt like it kind of gave us a little bit of a break from how heavy I anticipate the rest of the season being.
Totally,
especially what's happening with with Billy Porter's character and Blanca with their HIV health. And their health.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. I loved the music. I thought the music was an amazing throwback in episode 3. And then
the music this season, I mean, is just
fire.
Wow.
I can't take it. I honestly cannot take it. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Every episode, I'm like dancing on the couch. I'm like, yes.
I loved episode 3. I thought the direction and the tone being different. I really enjoyed it.
Speaking of also bad acting and HIV, Sandra Bernhard.
Yeah,
yikes.
She's the one weakest
Yikes.
link, I would say, for this season. She's not good. But again,
she's
the message is important, and so I'm going to let it slide. So
yeah, luckily it's that kind of rare example where you can totally look past any sort of rough spots, because it just is it's such a lovely show. And it's impressive that half the cast is not back. We don't have Evan Peters, we don't have James Vanderbeek, we don't have Kate Mara. That whole world is long gone. And you don't even miss them.
Nope.
You're not even wondering about them.
Nope.
And that's interesting. That's rare for them to just do such a pivot, and you don't even miss them. You're fine without those people.
Yep.
So, yeah. Pretty cool.
So that's Pose Season 2. And the second thing on my list is the movie Crawl. We talked about this a couple of episodes ago when the trailer came out.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of dropped out of nowhere, surprised everybody. I think it was CinemaCon that they unveiled the trailer, and we were all like, oh, this is definitely a great summer movie. It's the kind of movie that you want to see in a movie theater with people screaming at the big screen, telling the characters not to do the stupid things that they do in these kind of survival thrillers. Another one, guys, add this to your list. I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
Love it.
It did not overstay its welcome. It's a breezy 87 minutes long. It is, and y'all know how I feel about that. It is mean, guys. Yes. It is lean and mean. If you're thinking that it's going to be the Meg, it is not. It is not funny. There is very little bit of comedic relief. It is fucking intense, and these gators are pissed. And so basically to give everybody
Does it happen really fast? Does it start really,
actually, no. It takes a good, 10 or 15 minutes. It takes a good 10 or 15 minutes to kind of get there. But once you're there, it just goes. Yeah. It just goes, and it doesn't stop. To give everybody a quick idea of what the premise is, this girl, Haley, she is in North Florida, going to, the University of Florida or something like that. Southern Florida is getting hit by a very strong hurricane. She can't get in touch with her dad to see if he's staying or going, so she drives the 2 hours down, and she goes to check on him in an old house that he still holds in his name, and he happened to go down into the crawl space underneath the house, because, obviously in Florida they don't have basements. And he goes under the crawl space to take care of something and discovers that 2 nasty gators have kind of been living down there because he's not living there anymore, and they've nested. So they've laid some eggs, and that's why they're so territorial. And after the movie, I kind of wanted to research to see, wait, are alligators really that bad? Because people often say that, they're really not as nasty or aggressive or territorial as you think. But when they do have young nearby, much like any other animal, they do get really wicked nasty. So she goes to check on him, and discovers that he's injured by the gators, and she soon gets injured herself. And so it's survival. It's a survival game to try and get out of the house in time before the waters rise. And it is white knuckle good. So good. Highly recommend it.
Love it.
Nice.
That sounds so fun. And is there a high body count, I assume?
Given that there are only maybe 5 or 6 characters in total throughout the whole film, like I said, it's very lean. Yeah, I would say the body count is pretty high. And it's gory. They don't shy away from it.
Oof.
Oh, shit.
And there's a dog. Wow. Of course, there's a dog to kind of get your emotions, even higher.
The dog survives.
Of course we do.
God.
I mean, we knew that in the trailer, It's like, they ain't gonna kill that motherfucking dog.
Aw, wow, that sounds so fun.
So that's my list.
And Tom, I remember you said you were a little disappointed that the audience you saw it with, wasn't 100% full, which is crazy, and they were a little quieter, but they were still into it?
They were quiet, but because at the end of the movie, everybody was like clapping and like, yeah, and talking about it and what they loved about it. So I was kind of like, well, where were you throughout those 87 minutes? Why weren't you screaming with me, y'all? But it is what it is.
That's fun. No, I definitely want to see that, and ideally on a big screen. Love it. Okay, Foom, what you got for us?
Okay, so the first thing on my list is Fleabag, and it is a series that I'd heard about for quite a while, but never really paid attention to. And I got a lot of time on my hands lately, so I was like, what is this show? Let me check it out. And I watched it. I didn't realize that season 1 and season 2 there was like 3-year difference between the two seasons.
Yeah.
And so I watched season 1 and then I watched season 2. And I gotta say, you guys, add it to your list. It is a fantastic, really well-written show. Like,
what is it about?
Yeah.
Can you
really
please tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. So Fleabag is main character. That's like her nickname. And we don't really ever learn what her real name is. And so it is written and created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Mm-hmm. She also wrote Killing Eve, which I was like mind blown. I was like, what?
I know, she's so young. She was born in 85, so she's our age.
She's our age, and she's like doing her shit.
She's a great actress. She's done theater. That's, I think, kind of how she got started. But yeah, when I heard a few months ago that because Fleabag season 1's a couple years old.
Yes.
So it's
season
like that
1
actress created Killing Eve, and she's writing Bond, the latest Bond.
I know, it's
she's
crazy.
On top of the world. It's amazing.
So super impressive. So anyway, Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays Fleabag. She's a young woman who lives in London, and it's about her just like dealing with a tragedy that happened in her life, dealing with family issues, and it's basically just like her life. There's no particular like thing that happens. The only underlining thing throughout the first season is this tragedy that happens with a best friend of hers.
So kind of how she navigates it.
So how she navigates it, how she's dealing with it, how she's dealing with the trauma. So it's Fleabag, her sister Claire, who's this super uptight like lawyer or financier who is in a really unhappy marriage, but I mean the woman cannot laugh or smile to save her life. So it's kind of like so she's hilarious. And then you've got Fleabag's dad, and I guess I would say Fleabag's stepmother, but it's really just like her father's like girlfriend turned fiance turned wife eventually, played by Olivia Colman, who I love her.
I've seen some clips of her on the show, and oh my god, the clips have me busting a gut. She seems so funny.
Oh my god, she's passive aggressive to the extreme, but in such like a calm way that when she delivers her bites, it's so funny because she's a bitch. She knows she's a bitch. Everyone else knows she's a bitch, but everyone just like in the British way, they just like smile at one another and keep it moving. It's really, really, really good. First season deals with, like I said, her tragedy of her friend, and then the second season takes place 367 days, like many hours, minutes, and seconds later. And, the family has kind of like gone and done their own thing for the year. Olivia Colman and the man who plays Fleabag's father are getting married. And in the first episode in the second season, it becomes really intriguing because there's a priest at the table, and Fleabag becomes infatuated with this priest. And it's really interesting, like, the dynamic between the two. He is not, like, I don't know, for me, when I think of a priest, I think of, like, someone who, like, I know they smoke and they drink, but I don't think of someone who, like, curses and someone who's really unattractive and, like, just like, older. And this guy is not that at all. He's young, he's hot, he like wears regular clothes, he curses like a sailor, he smokes, he's not he just got into the priesthood. He had like a whole life of being like a man and being sexually active before that. So the dynamic between the two is really interesting.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I am so like annoyed that I haven't even watched it yet because everyone I know that has watched it, like you, Foom, loves it and is like, Mark, come on, what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
sounds
it's like 10 episodes each, 30 minutes. I mean, you can fly by them.
Yeah.
It's really great. I'd highly recommend it. And the fact
That's
that
awesome.
this woman is like a beast, and she did this show, then she did Killing Eve. Like you said, she's
Right?
rewriting Bond. Like,
Yeah.
she's a beast. So
She's amazing. Yes, she is it's so impressive. I love it. It's so inspiring.
I will say that I don't think it's coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it just a 2-season
I think it's a
thing?
2-season thing. She actually didn't want to do a second season. She said that she needed to go away, do other things, and then she could come back and do a second season. And the way that they finished the second season, it seemed final to me. It seemed
Okay.
like a 2-season thing. Very British.
And
of
that's
them.
fine.
Yeah, totally. I'm
Okay.
totally fine with that.
And it's a half-hour show,
Yeah,
half-hour comedy,
half-hour
right?
comedy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, 6 episodes each. That's
yeah,
great. Wow.
it's like
Nice.
nothing. It really is
Okay.
nothing. So then, after Fleabag, the second thing on my list is Ed Sheeran's latest album. It literally just dropped this week, like
Wow.
brand stinking new. It's called Number 6 Collaboration Project, and it is Ed Sheeran. Pretty much every single song features a guest artist. You've got everybody on this album, from Justin Bieber to Cabello, Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, London rapper Stormy, 50 Cent, Eminem, Young Thug, Ellie Mott. Like, it is like her, like Meek Mill, Skrillex. Like, this album is full of collaborators. Travis Scott. It's an ad. I really enjoy it. I don't necessarily think it's for everybody because it is it's still a pop album, but it is a slight
departure
from his normal stuff.
I think I'll like it then, because his old stuff was kind of becoming, I don't know. I just was like, all right, let's show us something different.
Yeah,
So this
is different.
be-
This is different.
Okay.
Standout songs for me are "Beautiful People" with Khalid, or Khalid. Antisocial with Travis Scott, and South of the Border with Camila Cabello and Cardi B. Like, those 3 songs
cool.
are so much fun.
Wow. So it sounds like it's upbeat.
It's totally upbeat. And, like, Ed Sheeran is married. He quietly married his girlfriend. And I think for this album, it's really him just talking about the fact that he is a huge star, but he really isn't into, like, Hollywood and, like, big social settings and all of the things that you have that come involved when you're that big of a star and that big of, like, a person. He's just not into any of that shit. Like, that's just not who he is. It's not his personality. And I think this album really showcases that. A lot of the songs on the album are, like, remember I Don't Care with Justin Bieber. It was very much
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was very much like, I don't want to be at this party. Like, I just want to be with the person that I love, like, chill.
Right.
Antisocial is like that, too. The standout for me, my favorite song on the album is Beautiful People, and I just love the way that him and Khalid, like, the way that they, like, harmonize, and I think they both have really beautiful voices, and just the lyrics of the song are really strong. So I think it's an ad. Like I said, it's definitely not for everybody. There is a little bit of country on there for you, Thomas.
There is. Chris Stapleton.
Ooh,
yes.
yeehaw. With who?
Chris
Oh,
Stapleton
wow.
and Bruno Mars. They kind of like
Oh, wow.
they kind of like do a little country rock and roll. Surprise,
He
surprise.
really does have everyone. Wow.
That song was not for me.
Yeah. Boom's like, oh, God, fast forward.
That was one that I listened to, but then quickly skipped. But it's a good album.
Wow, I gotta listen. I didn't even know that this was coming out so soon. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know I'm asking the wrong group, but did you guys hear, like, was it true or was it just a rumor that Ed Sheeran was on an episode of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he was
Did
a
you guys
while
hear that?
back. Yeah.
Oh, so that was real.
Yeah.
Did he, like, play a role doing
No,
that?
no, it was just a
Or was he-
cameo.
Interesting. How distracting. Anyway, not that any of us care. Moving right along. Okay, well, thanks, guys. So I'll get into my list. I got a couple things for you, and the first one is the new horror feature film, Midsommar.
Midsommar.
It looks like. So Midsommar is directed by and written by Ari Aster, who did last year's Hereditary, which as you heard on this podcast, was a little divisive. Tom and I liked it. Funmi did not, right? So Midsommar, this is an interesting folk, kind of like a folk horror film, kind of in the vein of The Wicker Man and lots of things you don't really see too much of. I haven't seen Apostle yet on Netflix, a horror movie they did in the last year or so. But you don't really see too many folk horror films where there's, folklore and kind of witchy stuff. It's a bizarre one. Basically, I'll give you the gist before I get into my take on it. So it stars actually a lot of non-American actors playing Americans. They are like grad students, a couple and a couple of guys. They're all friends, and they are going to Sweden for their special big like summer event. That one of their friends is from Sweden, and so he's taking them to his little village that he grew up in. So right off the bat, we know, okay, this is going to be weird because these are very American people, and they are going to a little village where everyone wears white in the middle of Sweden, and it's very culty, very The Village from M. Night Shyamalan. And of course, once they're there, things start getting weird and getting weird and getting even weirder. Lots of gross visuals. It's there are things you can't unsee. I think overall, I will say, add it to your list. But it's not as good as Hereditary,
Correct.
which right off the bat
exactly
will turn off. You agree, Tom?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's not as good as Hereditary, which I know right away will turn off some people, especially like Foom, who didn't even like Hereditary. So if you didn't even like that, then you probably will not like this. This is a 2.5-hour movie. It is a little slow.
It doesn't feel it, though.
Oh, you think? I literally felt like I was in the movie theater all day today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Okay.
Like when the movie was starting to end, I was like remembering the beginning. I'm like, wow, that feels like yesterday. And
that's not good.
But not really in a bad way. Like I wasn't checking my phone. It just, you really feel like you are there with them every second of this trip. Every day they go to sleep, they wake up. They're, the sun never sets at this point of the year in Sweden, which is true. There's not even like sunset for a few weeks in June, I've heard. So, it's disorienting. They're taking these kind of hallucinogenic drugs and teas and stuff, which are all kind of part of the horrific stuff that goes on. What'd you think, Tom, overall?
I liked the movie. I thought it was way more fucked up than Hereditary, but it was nowhere near as scary as Hereditary, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Totally. Okay, because, this is quite dark.
It is very dark.
I don't know.
And there's no sense of hope.
Oh, no hope. There ain't no hope. And much like Hereditary, there ain't no hope. But I don't know. Hereditary hit me in a way that this movie, if it's gonna hit me, it hasn't hit me yet. Once it ends, I'm kind of like, okay.
It's so funny that Ari Aster has signature things that are him now. A woman crying with extreme grief is a scene that is both in Hereditary and in Midsommar. A really fucked up death that affects the main character is something that is shared between Hereditary and Midsommar. So it's some deformity, right? Physical deformity is something that was
That's
in
interesting.
both Hereditary and in Midsommar. So
yeah,
it's
I
just
didn't even think about that, Tom.
He's carrying over these elements in all of his films, and these are things that are going to become his kind of stamp on horror, I guess. Although
the next movie he wants to do is a quote-unquote zonky nightmare comedy. He wants to get away from horror and do a dark comedy.
Oh.
But yeah, it's interesting.
I just don't think I'm into his filmmaking.
I hear you.
And that's fine.
That totally makes sense to me because I like it, but another element that carries over, Tom, is a lot of loose ends, visuals and things that pop up and then pop up again. But then, once you hit the middle of the movie, they're nowhere to be found. And it's wait, you started the movie that way. Don't you want to, connect that to the end? And, it's nowhere to be found. I don't know. He still has, I think, a little bit of, work to do on that end. But it's cool. It kind of made me think a little bit of The Shining in a way. Beautiful cinematography. Beautiful, costumes. Everything is so interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think I got to sit with this one for a little bit. Unlike Hereditary, like with Hereditary, I wanted to really read a lot about it and like research theories and stuff. This one, I don't think I really need to research too many theories, but I need to sit with it. It's interesting. It's definitely dark. So if you're going to see it, I do say add it to your list eventually. I think you can see it at home, rent it, but it's dark and twisted for sure. And I just actually realized, I think, sorry guys, all my items this week are in the horror vein, so deal with it. Next up is...
That's cool.
Yeah, right? I mean, whatever. Halloween's coming up, so, just look at this as your little preview for Halloween. Next up on my list, a resounding ad, guys, is Stranger Things Season 3. Did you guys watch yet?
Not yet.
I'm almost done. I'm 5 episodes
Now,
in.
Tom, you got to tell me, because you had posted, like, the day it came out. You're like, I don't know about Stranger Things Season 3, guys. Like, this is kind of lame. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think it's lame?
No, so Jeff and I were almost ready to check out 2 episodes in. We thought it was just really slow, and that there was not a lot going on, and it felt more like a Stand By Me, right? Because it was mostly about the kids hanging out and kind of regrouping after summer camps and whatnot. But then episode 3, we were like, all right, let's give it one more episode. It kind of, things started picking up, and we're going to finish it out. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's the best season by far, but it's good.
Please keep watching. So you only have one more episode, Tom, you said?
5. I got 3 to go. 6, 7, and 8.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. You are in for a wild ride. Please enjoy. Buckle your seatbelt and enjoy what's going to be happening. Guys, it is so good. I wasn't really a huge fan of season 2. I thought it was fine, but like, meh. Season 1, I thought was great. It was actually creepy. It was clever. It was fun. Season 3 brings it back to 1 for me. It was...
Did you finish out season 2?
I did, yeah. I'm all caught up. I watched every episode, but like, you know what I mean? Like season 2, I think also because... I get it, like Netflix and the creators, realized, whoa, this show is a phenomenon. That season 2 felt very general audience to me, and it wasn't really creepy. There were a few good things, but ultimately, I kind of, don't really remember a lot of it. It's funny how season 1 and 3 are 8 episodes, season 2 was 9, so I think they got they were really feeling themselves, and they're like, let's trim it back a bit, and every episode now all makes sense. I agree, Tom. It's slow in the beginning. There's a lot of relationship stuff this season. But, not even with, romantic relationships. A lot of the relationships between the boys. You got some great characters. Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter,
she's fantastic.
Maya Hawke, is fantastic. Breakout of the season. She and Joe Keery, who plays Steve, the jock turned kind of nerd, they... for me, are the best thing about the season. They are so dynamic together. They are so much fun. There are some interesting kind of groupings going on because for most of the season, not everyone is together, which makes the later episodes so exciting when people join forces. You'll get there when you get there. But there's very little time spent in the Upside Down, which is different for this show, and it totally works. The only thing there are like 2 things that I don't 100% love about this season, and that is Billy, the main kind of bad guy. I didn't love him in season 2.
They just took it to
older brother
10 in this.
Yeah, he's not the most dynamic bad guy, but he's got some interesting things coming up later on in the episodes. But, when I see him, I don't really feel anything at all. I don't like him. I don't hate him. I don't whatever. And then also there's some, because this is the 80s, I think this is now set in 1985. It's 4th of July, 1985. There's the Cold War in the background. So there's a whole kind of Russian storyline.
Okay.
So,
that's interesting.
It's interesting. Every now and then the Russian storyline kind of feels a little bit like a slog, but it all kind of comes together. And the ending is really interesting. I don't want to give anything away, but the ending feels very much like an ending. Obviously, they're not going to end it now. They're going to keep it going. But the way it ends, I was a little emotional. Like, it felt like, period, we're done, that's it. So it'll be interesting to see how they pick up. But I highly recommend. I say keep watching it. It's very inspiring. Great horror action sequences this season. They are not holding back with the gruesome, gory stuff. There are scenes that made me think of, Alien, Poltergeist. I'm glad they gave room to let these good sequences really breathe, because it gets pretty violent in a good way, not like too much. And then a quick bonus, since I'm in the horror world, another long-awaited TV series came back this month, and that is Scream, the TV show, which we've chatted about at least a little bit offline. Did you guys get a chance to watch it all on VH1?
I watched 21 minutes, and then I was like, I'm done. Peace out.
Yeah. Foom, what did you think? Did you see it, Foom?
I tried. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I just want to say R.I.P. to a wonderful franchise, because this
Let
shit...
it go. Bring it back as a movie if you're going to bring it back.
Yeah, like...
Oh my God.
You know, because basically, for anyone out there who doesn't know, obviously we have 4 movies. It seems like we won't get another one now, of course, with Wes Craven's passing, although the different stars who are still in it have said they would do another one. The series was on MTV for 2 seasons, and honestly, I don't know if you guys watched that. It really wasn't
No, I
that
haven't
bad,
seen
especially
any.
season 2. Oh, you haven't seen any? Okay. Season 1 was fine. Season 2 actually was pretty decent. They were doing some interesting things. But then for whatever reason, I think because it just was pretty low rated, they didn't want to cancel it. They just wanted to totally reboot it. It moved to a different network, VH1. Queen Latifah randomly was an executive producer. Mary J. Blige is one of the stars of season 3. I say star. She's very supporting. I'm officially ready for Mary J. Blige to stop acting. Sorry if that's rude, but I don't think it's the right path for you, Mary J. But yeah, this season was really rough. I'm going to keep watching it just because I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, and it's just so exciting to see the old Ghostface mask and the original voice from the movies back on my screen. That's the most exciting part about it. You know, the season 3 wasn't the worst thing in the world from what I've seen. I'm about halfway through. At least you have Tony Todd from Candyman fame with his hook. Like, that's kind of fun. There's a little bit of, like, Easter egg stuff for horror fans. But overall, it just is so careless and thoughtless and not scary, not fun. I mean, some of these actors are downright awful. Like, did you pick them up off the street? Ugh, painful.
I don't understand why they don't bring back I Know What You Did Last Summer. That I'm ready for a remake or a reboot.
Yeah, or...
Give me that movie.
Or I Know What You Did Last Summer could even be... That could be an interesting TV show, you know? You could keep things coming if they wanted to do that as a TV show, because there are themes in the latest Scream series that made me think of I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's a lot of notes, a lot of black handwriting. So they're kind of, you know, picking and choosing different things from other horror movies, which is fun. But, oh, God, it's rough, guys. So hopefully, I don't know, the ratings for this season so far have not been good. They released all 6 episodes in a 3-night event, so they kind of knew, I think, they didn't have a success on their hands. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's just sort of a bummer. Wah, wah. I would say okay to miss. I won't say skip that shit, but it is okay to just watch something else. Oh, God, sorry. So that is our list. Sorry to end it on a little bit of a bummer, but we got some ads. Let's add it up. Okay, Tom gave us Crawl and Pose Season 2, both resounding ads. Funmi gave us Fleabag on Amazon Prime, 2 seasons so far. Maybe that's it. And Ed Sheeran's number 6 collaboration project. Is that what it's called? Number 6 collaboration project?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Latest album. It's a total ad. Lots of celeb, you know, features on there, which is exciting. And I had Midsommar, which is a cautious ad. Stranger Things Season 3, must add. And Scream Season 3, wah, wah, wah. You don't need to see it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, dim the lights, get cozy, because we are going to talk about sex.
Oh, yeah.
Sex in movies and TV. Now, the 3 of us, you know, we curse, we talk about, you know, all sorts of stuff, but, you know, we're not really dirty, but we're going to get a little dirty. All right?
Yeah.
It's episode 69. It's the 20th anniversary of the movie Eyes Wide Shut and American Pie. Very raunchy movies that came out back in 1999. So we are going to talk about memorable scenes. They might be funny. They might be hot. They might be shocking. They might be gross. I don't know. But Foom, why don't you start us off? What are some, you know, memorable scenes for you and why?
Okay. God. Okay, so the first one is...
Am I making you blush?
No,
Okay.
not at all. The first one is from Weeds. Do you remember this show?
Oh, wow, okay.
Mary Louise Parker.
I totally
I'm doing a
remember it.
throwback.
It was
I'm
huge.
going throwback.
Uh-huh.
That show was huge when it first came out, and it was actually kind of hot when it, like, I don't know, she was very, like, in touch with her sexuality.
Yes.
She was a widow. She had 2 kids. She was doing what she had to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So in season 6, Mark Paul Gosselaar was I cannot say his last name.
Gosselaar, I think.
Gosselaar.
Yeah. From Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
He was the guest star, and he played Jack, this bartender at this RV like park thing that Mary Louise and her family were living in. And I remember the episode. She was in this bar and she kept smoking a cigarette, and it was like clearly no smoking signs. And like she really wanted to get laid, but she was like not trying to be too like forward. So she just kept hanging out at the bar all day. And it got to a point where there was just her, Mark, and one other like super old dude at the bar. And so Mary Louise lights up a cigarette, and he's like, again, no smoking. How many times do I have to tell you? He's like, it's going to bother the customers. And so she asks the one guy that's sitting there, and she's like, can I smoke? Is this going to bother you? And the guy was like, no, I don't care. So Mark was like, he goes to the guy, the customer, he's like, we're closing. We're going to close now. And so he walks the guy out, and then he locks the door. And then he goes up to Mary Louise, and he grabs her hair.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And he's like, how many times do I have to tell you to stop smoking? And he takes her cigarette, and he like...
Oh, shit.
He takes her cigarette, and he kills it. And then he's like, then he's like, you need somebody to tell you what to do, don't you? And she's like, uh-huh. So he picks her up, bends her over the bar, pulls her pants down, spanks her with his belt, and then they go at it. I remember that scene. It was so hot, and I was like, damn!
Oh my God. Wow.
It's like, damn, Mark, damn, Louise, okay, I see you
Damn,
both.
Wow. And those characters didn't know each other previously. Like, they just...
There had been like flirtatious
okay.
interactions, but they didn't know each other's name or anything.
Wow.
It was just one of those things where she just really wanted, just had like this palpable sexual chemistry, and they just decided to go at it at the bar.
Wow.
And it was hot.
I gotta Google that scene. Dang.
Right?
It's funny, Weeds was obviously a long running show, and I never watched any episodes. I saw clips here and there, but maybe I gotta watch. I don't know. Wow. Okay. That's memorable. That's a good looking couple right there. So hey.
Yeah. And then the second one, this is more funny.
Okay.
But it's from American Psycho.
Oh my God, good. That was on my list as well. In my Rolodex of scenes. Yes, Foom, tell us.
Well, I wonder if it's the same scene. So for me, it's the one where, because we all remember American Psycho, Christian Bale.
Oh yeah.
He played a psychotic guy, Patrick Bateman, who I guess we don't really know if he's crazy or if it's just all in his head.
Right.
But the murder scenes that he orchestrates are just insane.
Oh yeah.
So the particular scene for me that I remember is when he brings home 2 prostitutes.
Oh my gosh.
And he starts playing Phil Collins while he's doing this like insane narration.
Yes.
And the whole time I'm like terrified for these women because I'm like, oh my God, he's setting up a video camera.
Yeah.
What is he going to do while he narrates Phil Collins like
and they're both
Genesis album?
And both women are just looking at him like, yeah, like they're so bored, and we're like, something's gonna happen.
Right? But then he like tells them what to do in between like this whole narration. So it's like Phil Collins, blah 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 blah. And it's like, Christy, take off your robe. And then it's like, Sabrina, take off your dress. Sabrina,
yes,
dance.
Right.
It's like, Christy, get on the bed. Show Sabrina your asshole. And then it's like, Sabrina, don't just stand there. Eat it.
I know, you're so right, Foom. That is such an odd monologue. Oh my God. And then that scene. When they're all in bed, my God.
Yeah. The way he just narrates everything, and then they have like this threesome, and he just is staring at himself the whole time.
Oh my God, I know.
And so you go back between thinking like, oh my God, he's going to butcher these women, to then thinking, oh, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just like
he's just a controlling.
He's just a control freak, and he likes to videotape them.
Yeah.
And then they're done, and then he pulls out the drawer of tools, and then you get scared again, and you're like, oh my God, what is he about to do to these women? You don't actually ever see what he does to them. You just see them run out of the apartment.
You see them
with,
run out and they're like
bruises.
Yeah, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Freaky.
But to me that was really interesting because it was like sexual in nature.
Oh yeah.
But scary. So it wasn't really sexy.
No.
And you kept thinking to yourself, well, I mean, these 2 women are about to like just be butchered by this man.
Oh, I know. It's you're right. It's like such an unsexy sex scene, but he looks so good. So
good.
So like you kind of are into it, but you're like, this is fucking weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's darkly funny. Yeah, that whole movie
Yeah.
was so interesting. But
Yeah.
little tidbit, I feel like you can see his like balls. I feel like
I think you can.
Yeah, when
in
he
the
like
one scene when he's like bent over.
when he like gets out of bed, like after that three-way, yeah, if you pause it just right, you see something dangling. It's a little dark, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, Christian. So little tip for you, literally. No, Foom, those are good choices. Yeah, totally. That is a very memorable, crazy scene. Ugh. Anyway, okay, Tom, what you got? What 2 scenes are on your mind?
So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna stick with Fumi's theme of picking something that was like darkly sexy but not sexy at the same time because you're scared. I'm gonna go with Midsommar. There is a scene,
tell us.
There is a scene toward the very end of the movie wherein Jack Rayner, he plays one of the American students who goes to this Swedish Midsommar festival, and he has been giving an elixir that is supposed to, like, you know, open up his senses and kind of get the juices flowing. And his acting in that scene is so good because you can almost like feel how fucking horny he is from drinking this. Like, he's trying to fight it because they obviously want to take him in and fuck one of these girls so that he can impregnate this girl. Because the Midsommar Festival is about death and life. The whole thing is about life and death, right? And the cycle of it all. So they need to have like a kind of a, what's it called? A fertilization to kind of give back to the earth. So they pick him to drink this elixir, and he's like trying to fight it because he's there with his girlfriend, and he and his girlfriend are in a really
feeling
bad
freaked
place.
out.
Yep, he's super freaked out, but you can feel his horniness. Like, he's just like, you could just see the juices like flowing in him. And then he gets taken into this room, and there's one of the girls laying in the middle of the floor, completely naked, in the center of a circle, and she's surrounded by 12 other women, I guess 12 women to represent the 12 months of the year, of all body sizes and ages, and they are completely naked as well, full frontal, their boobs hanging out and everything. And then he starts having sex with this girl, and they start, like, squeezing their boobs and moaning, and then at one point...
Oh my god. Tom, we were laughing. It was so bizarre, and the woman singing
so
like right
weird
there
and
into
singing
his
to him, and she's like leaning over in his ear, and she's like and then he starts moaning like the way she is, and then
they're all moaning together.
Yes, and then one lady goes up behind him and like presses his buttocks in so that like he thrusts harder into this girl, right? But he goes full frontal, and it's just like, I have to say, it is the most bizarre fucking thing because it is so not sexy and it is so weird, but he is very good looking, and I guess because you feel how horny he is, like, I actually got aroused in the theater.
Oh my god.
And I was there with my best friend. I was there with my best friend. So we were in one of those recliner seats, so we had to I kind of had to maneuver in ways to make it look like I am not totally popping a hard on this right now, but
oh my
so
god,
fucking embarrassing, guys. So embarrassing.
Oh my god, Tom. I have to tell you, now that I've seen that, and now that I know your story, I don't know how the hell you could get aroused during that weird scene.
Well, I have to say, though, I didn't watch the movie, but just hearing you explain it, I was like, well, this is kind of hot. What's happening here?
Right? And he's really good
Oh my
looking.
God.
He's a cute little ginger with a beard. So I was like, okay, Jack Rayner.
With a beard.
But that was my first one.
Okay.
Second one, I'm going to surprise you all and not go with a gay thing, right? Because I was originally going to say...
What?
Yeah, I was originally going to say every sex scene in Queer as Folk. Let's just call it that. But then I'm like, you know what, Tom? That's kind of selling out. That's copping out. That's too easy. I'm going to say another really memorable sex scene for me was Unfaithful with Diane Lane and Olivier
good
Martinez.
choice, Tom.
I think
Good
this
choice.
was the
That movie
first
is so
time.
sexy.
So good, so sexy. I think it was the first time because I was a teenager when I saw the movie, and I think it was the first time I realized just how sexy movies can be and how realistic sex scenes can be. And the one I'm thinking of in particular is the first time she has sex with him, and then she's on the train after going home, and then she's freaking out about the fact that they must have not used protection, and she goes to wash herself out in the train's bathroom to make sure nothing got in her to impregnate her, and I mean, and then every other sex scene in that movie thereafter is just so hot, and Diane Lane's performance
Oh my god,
is
I know.
so good and so believable. So that was my second one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when
that's a
he's
good
like,
one.
there's a scene when she's like lying down and he's just like touching her stomach.
Yes, I know
And
exactly what you mean.
She is shaking like she is ready to blow.
Yep.
Like it's
She done earned that
mesmerizing,
Oscar nomination. Yeah, because she was nominated
that's
for
right,
the
she did get
Oscar.
nominated.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, that movie is definitely hot. Good choice. Okay, I'll wrap up our sexy list with 2 scenes in my mind. They're both from movies. The first one is a shocking one. It was shocking because it was the first time, I think I've actually, maybe the only time, but the first time I ever saw an actor with a condom on his penis, which really was like, whoa, this is going into new territory. It was this movie that I don't know if you guys ever saw. I never actually saw the whole thing because it's so weird. Shadow Boxer. It was Lee
No, never
Daniels'
heard of it.
first feature film. Oh, okay.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Okay, it's Lee Daniels. It's with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Helen Mirren. It's like a hitman kind of thriller. Monique is in it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And there's a weird love romantic thing with Helen Mirren and Cuba Gooding Jr., which is weird in itself. But the scene I'm talking about is with Stephen Dorff, who has always been kind of like,
No,
you know,
he's
like
sexy.
dirty hot, like
Yeah.
yeah, right, in like a really like sleazy like way. But he's going at it with this girl, and he's like saying it's very pornographic, and like they're covered in sweat, and he's like, yeah. He's calling her bitch and everything. And then there's something going on outside, like a fight that's distracting him. And so they actually like break apart, and he's wearing a condom as if like they really were doing it. And it's his junk is just flopping around with this condom on. And I could not believe what I was seeing. I was like, whoa. This feels so real. I don't know. Who knew? Maybe Lee Daniels was like, I mean, I have no idea. I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, that was quite shocking. It's a hot, short sex scene, but it was like, just seeing that was like, whoa, this is entering such a realistic territory.
Yeah.
This does not feel like a movie anymore. It was very weird.
Yeah.
So that was that. That's a shocking one. And then my other one, I just have such a fondness for this little movie called Wild Things.
Oh, yeah.
God.
I have
Matt
to
Dillon
give,
is hot.
guys, I know everyone's like, wah, wah, but Wild Things I feel like it's just, I gotta give some love to that 3-way scene. The 3-way scene, basically to end all 3-way scenes, with Denise Richards, Matt Dillon, and Neve Campbell, who kept her top on, because, you know, she was like, I'm a star now. This is my
Right.
contract. I'll take my top off, but you're gonna get just my back, okay? And then you're gonna fade to black.
Right.
Denise, meanwhile, was like, where do you want my boobs? But if you haven't seen the movie, it really is worth a watch. I watched it fairly recently for, like, it came out 20 years ago, so I wanted to just see how it holds up. And it is such an odd, noir, sexy thriller, but it all is so fun. And this 3-way scene was, again, shocking, but kind of, like you were saying, Foom, with your 3-way scene, it's like sexy, but also not at all. It's so...
Yeah.
So strange, but we have Denise and we have Matt Dillon, who looked like he was seriously enjoying it. There's like a shot
I'm
of him
sure he was.
going to town with Denise that it's like, this isn't acting what we're watching. But basically it's champagne all over Denise Richards and Matt Dillon, and the tops are coming off and they're all going at it, and I just have to give it some love because it was wild. And I'm pretty sure didn't it win like an MTV Movie Award, which also
Probably,
was huge
yeah.
at that time, that it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
right? That it was like Best
Yeah.
Kiss.
Best Kiss,
I think it was
yeah.
Best
Yeah.
Kiss that year.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. So I have to give Wild Things some love. Hey,
Cool.
It's not episode 69 without a mention of that. So, ladies and gents, that is our episode. I feel like we really ran the gamut from sexy to not sexy at all.
Uh-huh.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Please don't forget to leave a rating for us on iTunes and also Spotify, but iTunes would be great because those ratings and reviews do help podcasts like this keep growing. As you know, this is a little indie endeavor, so the more ratings we get, the more popular it will become. So please do that. And as you do that, we are going to call you out. We are going to mention who leaves us reviews on this podcast. So your name might be mentioned in the next episode. You never know. Thank you so much to Greg, Allie, and Jay for your artistic contributions. We couldn't do it without you. And before we sign off, I'm now going to let you hear our individual thoughts all about those brand new Emmy nominations. And please send us a message. Let us know what you think. Are you surprised by any noms? Do you disagree with us? Contact us on social and let's start a discussion. Let's hear those nominations now.
Okay, Emmy nominations are out. And I have to say, bravo, Television Academy.
I think we can all agree the Emmys are officially cooler than the Oscars. There is so much stiff competition this year that this is going to be such a huge show. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We have 8 drama nominees and 7 comedy nominees.
So I'm with you guys. This is probably the most exciting and fair and well spread out Emmy nominations that we've seen in a long time. Yes, even though Game of Thrones got 32 nominations, but whatever. We kind of knew that was going to happen.
I have not been this excited for the Emmys in a long time. I love seeing all these different names and shows and diversity. So let's break this down and get into it.
So for surprises, let's start. Hello, finally, Mandy Moore got her Emmy nomination for This Is Us. I've only been saying that for 3 years now that she deserved one, but I was super, super excited to see her name on the list because she really is the heart of that show.
Can I just say, I'm going to give my boy Tom some love because his girl, Mandy Moore, finally got a nomination. Go, Mandy. Go, Mandy.
I'm also going to co-sign with Tom and say that I'm so happy to see our girl Mandy Moore finally get recognized for lead actress in a drama series. It's about time.
Second big surprise for me, even though I don't watch the show, I know that it's loved and I know that there's an LGBT angle with it. So good for you, Schitt's Creek, for getting a Best Comedy nomination 4 seasons in.
We have some really fun, good surprise nominees like Schitt's Creek, which I kind of gave up on that show a good few years ago. So it's so wild to see a show actually, I guess, get better. Maybe I have to check it out again.
I love seeing Fleabag, Mrs. Maisel, but let us rejoice in Schitt's Creek for finally breaking through in the category of Best Comedy Series. The show is so funny, and if you're not watching it, you really should be.
But I mean, comedy this year is insane with Russian Doll and Fleabag and Barry, and Christina Applegate got a nom for Dead to Me, which is awesome and well-deserved.
Russian Doll, that was a surprise because I did not like that show. I tried to watch it with my friend in Atlanta when I went to go visit her over a long weekend. We got like 4 episodes in, and I just do not see the hype around that.
Pose, Billy Porter, y'all better. I am so happy to see him nominated. I am so happy to see this show nominated.
And the fourth biggest surprise for me was kind of Viola Davis is still getting nominated for How to Get Away with Murder. Like, really? I mean, I guess. I don't watch the show, so I can't judge. But I know it's like 5 or 6 seasons in.
Required viewing, recognized. When They See Us, Netflix's most nominated series, Ava DuVernay. We just have to give an applause for that entire cast for killing it in those performances. This series is hard to watch, but it is so good. So good.
I mean, this is crazy. The women are killing it. You know, my girl, Patricia Arquette, is nominated for both great shows, The Act and Escape at Dannemora. And those limited series or movie shows, those are going to be killer with Amy Adams, Patricia Clarkson, Niecy Nash, Michelle Williams. This is crazy.
And finally, people, thank you for nominating Jodie Comer with Sandra Oh in Killing Eve. Because honestly, I was a little perplexed before as to why she wasn't recognized and nominated. Because really, Jodie Comer and Villanelle make that entire show.
I also have to give some love to Nailed It on Netflix with Nicole Byer. That got a nice competition program nomination, but we all know Drag Race should win and probably will win.
And I also want to say that I'm really happy to see Surviving R. Kelly being nominated, because damn, that show was good. Ooh, that show was good. I will say that probably the only thing that I was sad not to see recognized and nominated was Patriot Act with Hassan Minaj. That show's really good, and he is doing something that's different and informative and unique and entertaining.
No Haunting of Hill House. That was the biggest one for me. What the heck?
And how crazy. The snubs. No Richard Madden for Best Actor for Bodyguard, even though that was nominated, which I think is well-deserved. But he was so great.
No Richard Madden for The Bodyguard. So The Bodyguard got love itself, but he did not. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic in that show. And the show would not have worked without his performance. So.
And shocking. No Homecoming, which you guys might remember I loved on Amazon. I'm surprised that the show didn't get anything. At least none of the major awards. I'm only looking at the major list, but wow, that's a big snub for Amazon because I like that show. None for Julia. None for Bobby Cannavale.
No Susan Kalichi Watchin for This Is Us. She had a stellar season 3, and her character Beth got to do some really good things. So I was a little shocked to see that she did not make the cut.
We can just see that we are just inundated with great television.
And then I was also surprised to see no Carmen Eogo nominated for True Detective, even though Mahershala got in. And finally, I was a little shocked to see no Joshua Jackson for The Affair Season 4, because that was some of the most profound TV I've ever seen. And he had a lot of work to do on Season 4, and I know the critics really loved that season. So that was a little bit of a surprise for me.
So, I'm excited. September 22nd, you know I'll be watching.
And lastly but not least, I just want to point out that every show that has ever made my list has been nominated, so I know that you know that I know, that you know that I know, that I know what I'm talking about. And that I'm always right.
And that's it. All right, thanks so much, guys. Until next time.
Ooh.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.